Reaction to the intro press conference with new defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, Brian Flores. Let's get after it. Start off by saying that his sons wanted Minnesota over everything because apparently they're big Justin Jefferson fans. That was pretty cool to hear. And also, before the question started, he said that there were greater vibes in the Minnesota meetings compared to outside opportunities. Mentioned Arizona and Cleveland as well. That's culture setting. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, we can talk about the football aspects they need to improve on. Kwesi got to do better in the draft. Kevin O'Connell, better in-game coaching. But in terms of culture setting, there's nothing to talk about here. Outside looking in, these dudes know how to make you feel welcome. And if you feel welcome, you feel more relaxed. So it's no surprise with Brian Flores saying, hey, there are some great vibes here, and I knew this is the place that I wanted to be. I'm saying, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then the questions began. Why Minnesota over Arizona? Gut feeling, right place, right opportunity. And I talked about this on Monday with Declan Goff, Purple Daily, that Brian Flores could have had the Arizona head coaching job if he wanted to. However, I feel like he's playing the long game here because I can see a situation outside looking in, just speculating here, to where the way that he got screwed over in Miami, he could say to himself, this job in Arizona, this may be the last big opportunity that I have to be a head coach. Let me go ahead and take that. Instead, I think he saw the situation to where they are so impatient and they are going to be so quick to fire him if they don't turn it around immediately. I think Jonathan Gannon is going to struggle over there in Arizona. Brian Flores is playing the long game here. Asked about his defensive vision, he said he wants his players to have fun and that there's joy in the game. Well, it's easy to have fun when you're making plays on defense because in 2022, the Vikings defense under Ed Donatel was some hot ass. They weren't having any fun out there, giving up all the yards. Are you kidding me? But if you make plays on defense and you're successful, then the joy will come naturally. And then asked about his time in Miami, the comparisons, the blitz packages, the man-to-man coverage schemes. He said, I'm aggressive by nature, and I feel like it's a shared philosophy with the head coach, Kevin O'Connell. And that's the thing, too. With this leadership, the head coach / offensive play caller, along with the defensive coordinator, you basically have two head coaches on the team working together. What type of players do you need? He said guys that are here, dirty work guys, physical players, team first, selfless, so the typical cliche answers. Asked about the lawsuit, he said, I'm not getting into it. It's ongoing. I'm happy to be here. I'm going to focus on coaching. He was also asked about the possibility of interviewing for head coaching jobs next year in 2024. And he said, I'm coaching here right now. We'll cross that bridge in the future when we get there. Folks, it's okay. This is a great problem to have. What would you rather have to deal with as an organization? An elite mind that you have to replace every year or every other year? Or a guy who's not very good at his job, but he's here consistently, even if it's at the suffering of that side of the ball that he coaches? Obviously, having Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator, even for just a year, is a great thing for this organization. Talked about camaraderie among all three phases and said that it's vital for any football team to be successful, and credited KOC for laying the seeds of the culture in place already. As far as the assistants under Brian Flores, those conversations are ongoing. They'll fill out that staff as the offseason goes on. And he did confirm that they're going to run a 3-4 base defense for the Minnesota Vikings in 2023. So if Danielle Hunter is still going to be on this team, more than likely we're looking at outside linebacker for a second straight year. And lastly, I thought about this after the show I did with Declan Goff on Monday. Towards the end of the show, we talked about players that the Vikings may or may not cut. Harrison Hitman Smith, for example. In the back of my head, Eric Kendricks as well. Didn't talk about him, but still it applies here. But knowing that Brian Flores is going to be the defensive coordinator, you have to expect for him to be here for just a year. Knowing that information, why not let him do all the dirty work now for the next man up, the next defensive coordinator to step up for it to be an easier situation in 2024? Why not get rid of the aging veterans now? Let Brian Flores lay the groundwork for a new defense with new players so that when the new defensive coordinator comes in 24, okay, I can pick up where Brian Flores left off, opposed to saying, oh my God, we have Brian Flores. We can really run it back with Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith right now. So then in 24, the new guy has to figure out the new roster with whatever Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah gets in place through the draft or free agency. It's going to be a lot harder for him. Why not have the great mind of Brian Flores to deal with that right now so it's easier for the next guy in 2024? Get it done. We're back at it tomorrow. We'll see you then.